and a square leg and a short mid wicket. So Kabem Hodge, left arm orthodox, he would bowl between umpire and the stumps, and he'll be bowling 2. Bortel, who is surveying the field as Butler takes his time out to square leg. So all is set, as it's going to be Hodge round the wicket, and he's working that down to long on. They threw for 1, so immediately Bortel is off the mark, and Nepal now 1 without loss as Asif comes in to strike. Hodge still bowling from round the wicket, 2 right-handers at the crease. This time he's down the leg side, not taken cleanly there. It looks like Douglas, and wide signal by Byam. Total goes on to 2 without loss as Hodge once more in. He's looking to sweep top edge. Someone is coming wrong, and here he goes, looking to sweep that, got a top edge, slip moving around to a leg slip position, took the catch, and Asif makes his way back. So a bad start here for Nepal, 2 for 1, as Asif looking to sweep. And there it is, quicker delivery, and Bortel was on the back foot and forced it down to long on for a single. So over number 1 comes to an end, a successful over by Hodge, and a very good over indeed. Nepal 4 for 1 at the end of the first over. So it looks like Redhead going to pick it up from the northern end. Bowling starting from the southern end in bright sunshine here at Park Hill. No threat whatsoever of rain, and in fact morning being pretty hot, pretty steamy, and the players would have to keep themselves hydrated. So it's going to be Bortel who would take strike. He's marking his guard, and as Melius trying to marshal his forces. So Redhead just from the 30-yard circle. Driven sweetly through covers by Botel. He likes it coming onto the bat. That was pitched up. And he was in the approved fashion, driving it past extra cover, who just watched it go past him and into the fence for 4. The total now goes on to 8. And Botel, with that, he goes on to 6. And a good comeback delivery there by Redhead. And you can see Botel just watching it, judging it, and allowing it to go through to the keeper. Douglas standing back. Good carry to Douglas. Surface has been pretty true, and batters are comfortable driving through the line. And Botel would like that. And a good delivery inside edge, and they threw for a single out to square leg, tidied up. So he moves on to 7. The total now on to 9. We are in over number 2. So Anil, who is on 1, comes into strike. And has good delivery. And rising, I think Anil had to pull that hand off, hitting more to the shoulder of the bat. And he's doing some adjustments to his pad, now replacing his mittens. So having been struck for a boundary of the very first delivery of his over, Redhead has come back pretty strongly and just trying to tighten things up. And he's guiding that down to third man. Lewis is down there, Fields, and they threw for a single. The total now goes into double figures. It's on 10. 10 for 1. I think 1 delivery remaining in this over. I'm sure that Redhead would want to finish very strong. And Botel may have other ideas. He's on 7. With him is Anil, who is on 2. 1 extra, having lost Asif for a duck. And he's forcing that out to extra cover. Knocked down once a single, he's not there. Descarte knocking it down. So good finish by Redhead. Over that cost him some 6 runs. And at the end of over number 2, it's 10 for 1. And Hodge would pick it up from the southern end. This will be his second over. Over number 3. So NEPAL within the toss and batting here. And Windwards now looking. Hodge doing some adjustments, strengthening that offside. But it is driving past extra cover 4 runs. That was tossed up. And he drove it. It was intentional in the air between the square cover and extra cover and down to the boundary for 4. Total now on to 14. And he goes on to 11. He's driving down to long on the bounce. Lewis tidies up, gets a single. Total now on to 15. And Bortel, he moves on to 12. So Anil comes into, it was Anil who had that boundary, rather. Bortel down the track, lifts it out to long on. And beautiful piece of work by Lewis long on the long on boundary. They come back for the second. So he has saved himself, saved the team 2 runs. And Hodge now acknowledging the effort there by Lewis. So both batters are on 7. And it's now Bortil who comes into strike. Bortil comes back into strike. He goes on to 9. The total now on to 17. And dead ball signal there by Bayam. And looking to sweep that. Taking on the pad, half-hearted appeal. No run. Total remains on 17. 17 for 1. We are in over number 3. Hodge dabbles his hand in the dirt. But goes Bortil. Out to backward point. Milias covering ground to his right. Fields no run. So a dot goes into the scorecard. And he's looking to work that on the onside. Take down the pad. Over comes to an end. Some 7 runs in that over. So 17 for 1 at the end of over number 3. So Hodge finishing his second over. So 2 overs, 1 for 11. Redhead, 1 over for 6. And he will pick it up from the northern end. So one noticeable change from the Windward Island Volcanoes is that they have left out one of their faster bowlers and they have included the off spinner. So Lewis makes his way off to get some attention, having made that save on the boundary. And it is driving out through extra cover. Mid off covering grounds very quickly, smartly fields and returns. Keeps it down to a single. Total goes on to 18. So Anil with that single, he goes on to 8. And it's Bortil who is on 9. Comes into strike. 18 for 1. We are in over number 4. But he gets a yorker, he digs it out. Once a single is not there, Descartes coming in like a train from that short extra cover position. And a good delivery there by Redhead. And Bortil had to dig it out. Was looking for the drive, it wasn't there. In the end, had to come pretty hard down on it. But he is driving out to mid-off. Once a single, this could be dangerous. And he misses. That had that hit, he certainly would have been walking back to the pavilion. He goes into double figures. He's now 10, the total on to 19. Very risky single there taken by Bortil. But fortunately for him, mid-off had it through and missed. So Anil comes back into strike. He's on 8. Bortil, the non-striker, is on 10. 19 for 1. Still in over number 4. Down the leg side. And perhaps taken on the pad. And there is no run. Lovely sunshine here at Park Hill. Nice cooling breeze blowing through Our commentary position. This time he's looking to drive. Aerial shot, clearing defense. It gone all the way. That's 6. Was pitched up, not timing it well, but it has good carry. Still clearing the boundary here by a few meters. So 6 to Anil. He moves on to 14. And the total now on to 25. 25 for 1. Still in over number 4. I guess a Yorker, he takes it out. They go through for 1. The return comes in once more. Knocked down there by Redhead. And they threw for a single again. Very suicidal single, but fortunately he got away with it. So at the end of over number 4, the total 26 for 1. So at the moment they're going at 6.5 runs and over. Windwards would feel very happy with that. And let's see, there is a change in bowling at the southern end. So Hodge has been pulled out of the attack. And Descarte would pick it up from the southern end to bowl over number 5. So Bertil on 10. Anil, he's on 15. He's driving off the outside edge, just short of third man, who knocks it down. He gets a single. And luckily for him, that could have easily be carried into the hands of short third man, just around the 30-yard circle. So Anil getting a single there. He goes on to 16. The total now on to 27. 27 for 1 as Bertil comes back into strike. He's driving square, but there's a sweeper on the boundary. And keeps it down to a single. Total now on to 28. Bertil goes on to 11. Anil, who is on 16, comes back into strike. So there's rotation of the strike here at Park Hill. And that was short, and he bangs. He was using his feet. And he saw it. I saw him advancing, dropped it short, but he got on top of it and hammered it between the backward point and extra cover. And he picked up a boundary. So he's taking the aggression. He's been the aggressor, taking his total, his tally now on to 20, total on to 32. He's fanning at that outside. The off stump misses, taken cleanly by Douglas, standing back. He rehearses the shot. So it's 32 for 1 in over number 5. Shadrach Descarte. And there was Anil just holding up his hand. And Descarte had to abort his run. His drive in the air. This would clear the fence. It does. That's 6. Pitch top and deliberately lifting it over extra cover. Carrying all the way to the fence for 6. And the total goes on to 38. 38 for 1. Some 12 runs already in this over. With some 2 boundaries. 4. through backward point. Now 6 over extra cover. And again, he's off the outside edge, down to a wide third man on the boundary. Keeps it down to a single. Total goes on to 39. So Anil goes on to 27. So he's taking the bulk of the deliveries and doing the scoring. Bertil playing the holding role. 27 to Anil, 11 to Bertil. And let's see who is going to pick it up from this the northern end. It appears as if it's going to be Larry Edwards. So Anil and Bertil forging a pretty decent partnership here between these two. Some 37-run partnership. With Anil doing the bulk of the scoring. He has 27. And he'll be on strike as Larry Edwards. From the northern end, he's going to bowl between umpire. It looks like he's going to come between umpire and the stumps. Just doing a little adjustments to his field. He's tipped on the pad. Again, half-hearted appeal. And they're looking to work it on the onside. And there is no run. And he sweeps. And into the fence, 1 bounce for 4. And he moves on to 31. 31, the total now on to 43. 43 for 1. We are in over number 6. And immediately we see Captain Milius making some adjustments. And he lifts that high over extra cover. That's gone. That's gone for 6. So again, Anil really being the aggressor. He hustles on to 37. And the total now on to 49. 49 for 1. We are in over number 6. So Larry Edwards being put under early pressure here by Anil. Looks around. And that was a Yorker-led delivery, well bowled. But Anil digs it out. And there is no run. I think he was looking for an aggressive shot. That was right up, faster, flatter, and right up in the block hole. Sweeps again. And this would clear the fence now for 6. And up goes the hand of umpire Butler. So 6 more to Anil, who moves on to 43. The total now on to 55. And Anil decides he's going to take the attack to the bowlers. He's a Bertil who is really a spectator at the other end. As Anil continues to take the attack to the bowler. So Edwards under pressure. He goes back and he works it down to a long on. They hustle for 1. They're going to come back for the second. No. That was scream and well taken there. Not the best of throw, but there was Douglas climbing, plucking it out of the air. The total goes on to 56. So some 17 or so runs coming in that over. And Edwards first over, an expensive one. And immediately we see Descartes being pulled out of the attack. So at the end of over number 7, 56. 56 for 1. So going at 8 runs and over, and they would want to increase this run rate. And Asif Hooper is going to pick it up from the southern end. So discarded, given that 1 over, being pulled out of the attack. And Asif Hooper, left arm orthodox, comes in. So it's going to be Anil, who is on 44, to take strike. So Bortel has been away from the strike for some time. Goes back, cuts to backward point, beats him, and that's 4. Short of a length, and he was on the back foot, cutting it past Melius at backward point into defense for 4. He goes on to 48. Total now on to 60. 60 for 1. And we are in over number 8. Hooper between the umpire and the stumps. Umpire Byam signaling dead ball. And as they push it out to short extra cover, they go through for a single. Misses. Looking for a second. No, says Bortel. And he goes on to 49. Total now on to 61. 61 for 1. So Bortel, who has been a spectator for some time, he comes in to strike now. Just retaking his guard from umpire Byam. And he goes back, works it out to mid-wicket. He'll get a single. So he moves on to 12. And it's Anil, who is on 49, comes back into strike with a total 62 for 1. Goes back and force it out to extra cover. No run. 62 for 1, the total remains. He's swinging that out too long on. Now comes off the boundary fields, keeps it down to a single. So it's 50 to Anil. So a well played 50 as the total goes on to 63. And there is Bortel working it off his pads out to mid-wicket. Gets a single. The total now on to 64. He goes on to 13. But a well played 50 by Anil. So Descarte is going to shift to the northern end. And so over number 8 comes up. How many balls? Yeah, how many balls? So there was Anil, 25 balls for his 50, 4 fours and 4 sixes. So we're in over number 8, just about to start. Descarte, just about marking out his run. Perhaps looking for just scratching at the surface there. So at the end of over number 7, it's 64 for 1. Bortel on strike. And he slaps that over extra cover. And sweeper comes off the boundary, keeps it down to a single. He goes on to 14. Total now on to 65. 65 for 1. So very good partnership here between these two. Some 62 runs. And it is flashing at that outside yard stump, not taken cleanly by the keeper. And they scamper through for a bye. Let's wait. Yes, here comes the signaler from umpire Butler. Total now on to 66. 66 for 1 in over number 8. But he slashes at that over third man and he clears the rope. I think that would be 6. Umpire Butler now signals. So 6 to Bertil. It was outside the awesome, gave him width, and he threw the bat of it. It peeled off the outside edge and flew over third man, clearing the fence. He goes on to 20, and the total now on to 72. 72 for 1. We are in over number 8. So the run rate increasing gradually. And he's whipping that out to mid-wicket. Who fields on the bounce. Edwards was covering grounds, couldn't get there. And Descartes not happy with the effort. But Larry Edwards not going risking himself. And just allowed it to drop in front of him and picked it up on the bounce. The total goes on to 73. And Bertel goes on to 21. So Anil, who is on 50, comes back into strike. And he's whipping that out to square leg. Hodge takes a beautiful catch out on the square leg boundary, diving in front of us right here. And Anil makes his way back. It was whipped off the pads in the air. Hodge judged it well, diving forward and claiming the catch. And he goes back for 50. And the breakthrough that Windwards wanted. It's now 73 for 2. And finally, they have broken that partnership. A very productive one for Nepal between Bertil and Anil. And Descartes now taking the catch, as you can see on the monitor. Yeah, where Hodge judged it well, dived forward and came up with the catch. So he goes back for 50 of some 26 deliveries, hitting some 4 fours and 3 and 4 sixes. And we can see now that's number 17. Rohit Podell, the captain, makes his way out. He has number 17 on the back of his shirt. Podell, the captain. So it's Descartes with some success under his belt. And a good delivery. His defense out to long on. Who they're hustling for one. They're coming back for the second. Lewis comes off the boundary. The return comes in, but they will get 2 easily, and they do. And at the end of over number 8, it goes on to 75. 75 for 2. As over number 8 comes to an end. So immediately Podell is off the mark. He's on 2. Bertel is on 21. And Hooper will continue from this there. The southern end. Now gives his hat to umpire Byam. I see they're having a word with his captain Melios. See Douglas just adjusting the field. So Bertel would be on strike. So 85 for 2 at the completion of over number 8. Sweeps very nicely out to square leg. Descartes comes off the boundary and fields, keeps it down to a single. The total goes on to 76. 76 for 2. And Podell comes into strike. He's driving out to extra cover. They go through for 1. They'll get it easily. Good judgment of a single. Total goes on to 77. 77 for 2 in over number 9. Again, he sweeps it nicely. This could run away for 4. There's no man that fine leg. It goes across the ropes now. Well played there by Botel. Just scooping it over to fine leg region and getting himself a boundary. He goes on to 26. And the total now on to 80. 81. 81 for 2. Win over number 9. Botel is driving out to extra cover, wants a single. A shout of no as Rohit was backing up. And luckily for him, he gets back into his crease. Total remains 81. He's driving beautifully, square of the wicket, 4 runs. You can see it was pitched up and he opened the face of the bat, drove it between the extra cover fielder and the sweeper on the boundary. And he picks up 4. So he's now 85. 85 for 2. And with that boundary, Botel goes on to 24. Again, he plays it out to short extra cover. They want a single. Larry Edwards was covering ground. Couldn't keep it down. Couldn't pick it up. Total goes on to 85. So at the end of over number 9, it's 85 for 2. 25 to Botel. It's Rohit. In fact, it's Rohit on 9 and Botel on 24. So it's Captain Rohit Padel who will take strike. That's it. You know, he's at the non-strikers end. So Botel has been there from the inception. Started the innings. But he's still there. He's lifting that out too long off. This would drop inside the boundary and it goes across the ropes. And that's 4. That mid-off being up. Deliberate shot there by Botel to a delivery that was pitched up. And he moves on to 28. The total now on to 92. He's trying to square the wicket. Long run for the man on the boundary. They will come back for 2. And tidied up there by the fielder. So 2 more to the total. And Botel trying to being blocked by a tree. Not getting his individual scores yet as he's working it out to mid-wicket, who races off the boundary. Larry Edwards picks up, keeps it down to a single. And the total now on to 93. 93 for 2. As Botel signals to the pavilion for some water. It's a pretty hot day. And Captain Rohit comes back into strike. And open the face to backward point. Melius is there. And there is no run. Rohit looks rather busy. He's on 16. And his soft hands out to extra cover. And he gets a single. Total now on to 94. 94 for 2. In fact, Rohit, he moves on to 18. And being blocked a bit by the scorer. But Botel, who should be on 25, face the final delivery of the 10th over. He advances and lifts it out to mid-off. Long on. He's taken. He mistimed it. He was looking to go over mid-off, inside edge. And long on, coming off the boundary, Anthony Lewis took well-judged catch. Bertil goes back. And it's now 94 for 3. And disappointing end there for Bertil. But success for the Windwards. And the Windwards will be very happy. So it's Bertil now making his way back. Earlier we see Asif making his way back to the pavilion. Partnership being broken. So at the completion of over number 9, that should be over number 10, as Jora makes his way out. So Jora joins his captain. So it's going to be Ned. Good ball. He wants a single, but he has scampered back into his crease. So Ned, good start for him. And total remains on 94. We should be in over number 11. So Sandeep Jora joining his captain, Red Padel. Again, there's Yorker and delivery. They go through for a single. And Melius picking up, not able to release it. Bubbles out of his hand, and they're through for a quick single. Total goes on to 95. So the single takes Rohit to 18. Jora comes into strike, takes guard from umpire Byam. That top edge landing safely. There was Hodge covering grounds. They're coming back for a second, but in the end they got that what looks rather dangerous in the end, getting it comfortably. It was not a good throw from Hodge, who was on the move, and the players batters scamper through for 2. So he's off the mark in Jora. He's on 2. Total now on to 97. 97 for 3 after 10.3 overs. Good delivery, taken on the pad, down to third man. And Byam now signals leg byes. Total on to 98. It's 98 for 3. So Ned wants to make further inroads for the Windwards. And beautifully played, but well fielded by this Descartes at fine leg, but that was well played by Roy, the captain. Just swiveled and traveled very quickly, but Descartes was in the right position, picked it up on the bounce. Total remains on 98. So far, a pretty tidy over by Ned. Sure, he'll want to finish very strongly. Okay, gets a Yorker, and there was Roy just digging it out and getting a single out to mid-wicket. And he goes on to 19. The total now on to 99. So at the end of over number 11 and 99 for 3, it's going at 9 runs and over. And we see Asif Hooper, change of end. Started out from the southern end. Now he's been shifted to the northern end. And Rohit Padel, captain of Nepal, he's on 19. Jora, who has recently joined him, he's on 2. And it's going to be Rohit Padel on strike. So some players in the distance. There is a long on, a deep mid wicket, long off, a backward point on the fence. Sweeps by Rohit out to deep mid wicket. Descarte comes off the boundary, keeps it down to a single. So 100 comes up for Nepal in 11.1 overs. And Rohit goes on to 20. Jora goes back, forces it out to extra cover. There is no run. Quicker delivery. He had to come down pretty quickly on that. Hustled him a bit there. Striving is out caught. You can hear it from here. Driving beautifully taken there by Douglas. And he went up immediately. That was pitched up outside the outside. He was driving, getting an outside edge. Douglas took it gleefully. And there it is. The disappointment there by Jora as he makes his way back. So he goes back for 2. 100 for 4 here. Nepal batting first here at Park Hill as the players seize the opportunity to refresh themselves. So too the umpires. Pretty hot day here at Park Hill. Bright sunshine. It looks like Colbin makes his way out. To join Captain Padel. So this time a left-hander comes out to do battle. So it's less, so now we have a left-hand right-hand combination. And Hooper playing in front of his home crowd. This is his home village. Picking up that scalp in his second spell. And he'll bowl over the wicket to the left-handed Gulshan. Gulshan goes back and plays it out to backward point, and there was Captain Melius moving smartly to his right. Picks up, keeps it down to no run. And he's forward defensive. Levy works it out to short mid wicket. Hooper moving smartly to his right. Again keeping it down to no run. So tight over here by Asif Hooper, and a successful one indeed as well. I think just 1 run coming off the over so far. And he goes back, works it out to square leg. They go through for 1. They would settle for that as the total goes on to 101 for 4 at the completion of over number 12. And a good over by Asif Hooper. 2 runs coming in that over and a wicket as well. And we can see Melius now having a word with Hooper. Perhaps Ned will continue. So there's Gulshan Cheha, who is on 1. He will take strike. And it's going to be Ned. To continue. So Gaishan having taken guard. He's on one, looks around the field. As Ned skips in. He's taking on the body. They scamper through for one. And in the end, good running there by Captain Padel. Just shadowing it, just allowing Ned to go past him. And that was taken on the pad. They scamper through for a leg by. And total now on to 102. 102 for 4. So Ned and now ball to Captain Rohit Padel. It's down the track, drive square. Hodge, nice piece of work by Hodge, keeps it down to a single. And they're going through for a second. The return comes in, he's out, run out. Not smart cricket there on the part of Gaishan. Looking to steal a single. And just lobbed it to Douglas. And he was run out by some distance. But he lobbed it to Ned the bowler. And he was run out by some distance. So 102 now for 5, 103 for 5 rather. And certainly the win was pulling things back here after a pretty good start by Nepal. And some rebuilding would have to be done on the part of Nepal. This is over number 13. 102 for 5. And let's see who joins his captain. Airy joins his captain. And so Airy in the first game really seeing his team through. Coming in at number 7, played a very good innings indeed. And saw his team home. And seems to favor the ball coming onto the bat. And there's down the leg side. As Padel looking to whip that down the leg side. Misses, white signal by umpire Bayam. And the total now on to 104. 104 for 5. Over number 13 in progress. In lovely sunshine here at the Park Hill playing field. And not a lot of breeze. He's driving square down to third man. Otney Lewis is there. Picks up. Keeps it down to a single. He goes on to 22. And Airy, who is yet to get off the mark, comes into strike. Now he's looking to take guard from umpire Bayam, who's just looking to the pavilion. Now he has given the right away for Airy, who now marks his crease. 104, 105 for 5. As he's driving out to extra cover, beats extra cover, but mid-off. Tidies up, keeps it down to a single. The total goes on to 106. 106 for 5. As Captain Padel comes back into strike. So Airy off the mark. Padel on 22. Flashes at that outside the horse stump and wide signal by umpire Byam. Total now on to 107. 107 for 5 in over number 13. So a bit of encouragement being given to Ned. He's looking to run that down to third man. Luckily for him, he didn't get a touch. Douglas takes it cleanly. Was Captain Rohit looking to run that down to third man, and he misses, and Douglas taking it, standing some 15 or so meters back. There is no run. So Ned has been rather tidy in his spell, and he works it out to mid-wicket. Mid-wicket comes off the boundary. Just a single. Total now on to 108. 108 at the end of over number 13. 108 for 5. Good tidy over by Ned, and really keeping the pressure on. As we see Melius having a word with Hooper. Ball being tossed to Hooper, and what would think? I think this is a final over for Asif Hooper. Going to see over number 17. Over number 14 to be bowled by Asif Hooper. And Captain Padel, who is on 23, Rohit Padel, will take strike. So Hooper decides to bowl between umpire and the stumps. And he's having a word with Douglas, the keeper. And perhaps Douglas would have observed something, just running down and having a word with the bowler. Again, he's playing it neatly down to fine leg, and they go through for a single. And Redhead was there. Keeps it down to 1, so he goes on to 24. Patel as Airy comes back into strike. 109. 109 for 5. And he goes back, tucks it down to short fine leg. Again, he scampers through for a single. Redhead moving smartly to his left fields. Hodge was covering ground, so he's right, backing up. And the total now goes to 110. 110 for 5. We are in over number 14. Sweeping at that, missing, and taken cleanly by Douglas, who removes the bails. But no damage done. So there was a captain essaying a sweep. In, goes back, tucks it out to mid-wicket. They have Scossa for 1. Hooper is there. Keeps it down to a single. And total now on to 111. Nelson, very superstitious number for the English. And 24, 25 to Captain Rohit Padel. Airy, who's on 3. Guides this out to the sweeper coming off the square cover boundary. And keeps it down to a single, so 112. So no boundaries being scored in recent times. And so the Windwards really pulling things back. 112 for 5. This time he's sweeping out to square leg. And Hodge moving smartly wrong. Feels the return comes in. And just a single. So the total now on to 113. Very good over indeed. And a good spell by Asif Hooper. And being congratulated there by keeper Dylan Douglas. So at the end of over number 14, it's 113 for 5. And Ned will continue from the southern end. He will bowl number 15. So it's 5 to Airy. 26 to his captain, Rohit Padel. And so it's Nepal having first strike, having won the toss and decided to bat. So Nepal in some pre-practice matches before the World Cup here in the Caribbean. T20 World Cup slated for the 1st to the 29th of June. Some 20 teams will be featured in that competition. In fact, Larry Edwards comes into the attack, and that was played very smartly out to short extra cover, and they scamper through for a single. So Captain Padel rotating the strike. He goes on to 27. And Airy, who is on 5, comes into strike. He cuts and beats backward point. Hodge has some running to do. He can't get there. He goes across the ropes now for 4. And after some time now, a boundary. And the total now on to 118. 118 for 5 in over number 15. Sammy plays it out squared. Melias covering grounds, not picking up cleanly, and they threw for 1. Airy with that single, he goes into double figures. And the total goes on to 119. 119. And that single, Airy, should be on 10. And it's forward defensively. That is lobbed to a short mid-wicket. Had there been a forward short leg, that would have been an easy catch. But in this T20, not afforded that luxury. So Larry Edwards will continue. It's a swinging that out too long on the bounce. A single. And the total now went to 120. 120 for 5. And Captain Padel goes on to 27. I'll wait on the scorer. Airy looking to run that down to third man. Misses, taken cleanly by the keeper, who removes the bails. But the back foot was well grounded. And over number 15 comes to an end. So 28 to Padel, 8-2. Looking at the scoreboard on the far side, 10 to Airy. And it's what? 26 to Captain Padel. So Descartes would pick it up from the northern end. Has some 2 wickets to his credit. So 2 out of the 5 wickets that have fallen. And to Descartes, who is going to pick it up. Bowling his right arm medium stuff from the northern end. So it's Captain Rohit Padel. And he works it out to mid-wicket. Lotney Lewis covering grounds, feels well. Keeps it down to a single. Return comes in and overthrow, and they're scampering through. No, I think they were looking for a second, but eventually they were scampering back to their respective creases. In fact, they got 2 runs. And so 2-2 Rohit, who now moves to 28. 122. He's whipping, looking to whip that down the leg side. Misses. Wide signal by umpire Butler. And the total now on to 123. So 1-2-3 for 5. We're in over number 16. Descartes just losing his line there. And that went down the leg side. Captain Padel But have been disappointed missing that. They can work that out to backward point. They go through for 1. That's all they will be. As the total goes on to 124. 124 for 5. So rotation of the strike. Airy comes back into strike. Sporting number 45 on the back of his shirt. Shadrach Descarte, St. Lucian. And the Windward Island Volcanoes get a good delivery take down there. There was an appeal there by Descarte. Good delivery. Maybe an inside edge into the pad. He wanted a single, but he was not there. Descarte was closing in very quickly. And we recognizing the danger. Has very quickly returned to his crease. So 124 for 5. 31 to Captain Rohit. And 10 to Airy. And he's driving that out to wide extra cover. Covers grounds, feels well. Beautiful piece of work on the boundary. And they come back for the second. Total now on to 126. So good piece of work by Long Off on the boundary. 126 for 5. It's working it out to mid-wicket. That would beat Hodge, that 4. Hodge looking to cover some grounds, but that was sweetly timed. And into defense it goes for 4. 130 now for 5. And 130 for 5. We are in over number 16. Airy, who is on 14 according to our scorer, in. And gets a good delivery. Once a single, it's not there. So good finish there by Descarte. 130 for 5 at the end of over number 16. So some 4 overs remaining. And it's going to be pretty interesting to see how Melius use his bowlers in these fading overs. We can see Larry Edwards to continue. He will bowl over number 17. I think there's Kavem Hodge, who still has 2 overs in the bank. There's his Otney Lewis, the off spinner, who has not yet bowled a delivery. So not likely, but still Redhead, who also has 2 overs. So he has options. But it's going to be Captain Rohit Patel to take strike. Larry Edwards is going to be his final over. So Captain would want to push on from here. As Edwards would be between the umpire and the stumps. And he scoops that over fine leg. Long run here for Redhead, who pulls it back inside the boundary. They come back for the second. Once a third, it's not there. And that was Captain there scooping that over short fine leg and getting himself 2. He goes on to 33. The total now on to 132 for 5. We are in over number 17. He swing top edge, that would clear the fence. It does. That's over mid-wicket for 6. Sweep shot, and they went high over mid-wicket for 6. Total now on to 138. And Captain Padel goes on to 39. 138 for 6. 39 to Padel. 14 to Airy. So there would have to be a replay. Well, the ball has been returned. See, third umpire in Cameron Green making his way out with a box of ball, but that ball has been returned Umpire Butler was just on the fence there, just checking. So Edwards now picks it up. Throws it out to Butler. In fact, it appears as if there's still a ball to be retrieved. Umpire Butler is there. So too is Descarte. So play has been held up momentarily. Umpire Byam really inspecting the ball. He's satisfied with the condition. Now tosses it to Larry Edwards. So play will resume after a short break. 39 to Padel, 14 to Airy. So a good partnership building here between these two. And Larry Edwards will continue. Padel looking to take the aggression to the bowler. Looking to take that attack. Again, he's looking to scoop that take near the chest. There's Douglas. And he gets a single. He goes on to 40. At Douglas standing up. Reaction time there. Very, very limited. And so he goes on to 40. So Larry Edwards, he will now bowl to Airy. He's driving, beats extra cover and down to defense for 4. It was short, it was wide, it gave him the room, the width to free his arms, and he banged it past Asif Hooper at short extra cover and down to the boundary for 4. The total now on to 143 for 5. And he's slapping that over long on for 6. A good over here for Nepal. Already there are 2 6s in the over, a 4. Already I think some 18 or 19 runs some scored off the over. 149 for 5, over number 17. I think there's a final delivery for Larry Edwards in his spell. Previous game had 3 for 20 off his spell. And he's driving. Asif Hooper covering grounds, knocks it down at extra cover. They're coming back for the second. And they will get it easily. And so good aggressive running on the part of Nepal. And the over comes to an end. It's now 151 for 5 at the end of over number 17. And let's see who's going to pick it up from the northern end. Looks like Ned. So it's going to be Ned to pick it up from the northern end. He's there with his captain Milios, trying to decide on his field. And it's going to be the captain, Padel, to take strike. He's on 40. 26 to Airy. So Darren Ned Right arm, fast medium. He's slapping that pass backward point. This would go across the ropes. It does. Well played there by Captain Padel. The total goes on to 155. He moves on to 44. And he inspects his bat immediately when that was struck. But he's picked up a boundary of the very first delivery. So putting pressure on the bowler very early in the over. So he had some width outside the off stump. Ned would want to correct that. And again he opens up and guides it down to third man. They go through for one. They will come back for the second and they will get that comfortably. And total now on to 157. Padel goes on to 46. Seem to favor that offside. He opens up and open the face of the bat and running it down to wide third man. So 157 for 5. And he's driving again out between the backward point and the wide third man. They come back for the second. The return comes in. Another good one. And 2 more to the captain. He goes on to 48. 159. Looking to be very aggressive. The running between the wickets has been very, very good indeed. So 48 to Padel. Areas on 26. 159 for 5. We are in over number 18. So 2 overs remaining. He's looking to scoop that over third man. Misses, taken cleanly by Douglas standing back. And there is no run. So a precious dot goes into the scorebook. 159 for 5. He opens up. Good piece of work on the third man boundary and keeps it down to a single. Larry Edwards on the third man boundary, diving effort. And you can hear the shouts of congratulations. 160 now for 5. So with 1 delivery remaining in this, the 18th over. As Airy comes in to strike. He bowled him! Off stump, cartwheeling out of the ground. Yorker length delivery, Airy FC in a big drive. Misses and off stump went walking. Success that the win was needed at this stage. Breaking that partnership, Airy makes his way back for a good supporting innings here to his captain. And Nepal now 160 for 6. 160 for 6. Captain Padel is still there. And Sampal Kami making his way out to join his captain. Going in at number 8. So Sampal joining his captain. His captain is on 49. Sampal will not have strike. And it's going to be Redhead with the penultimate over. And he will be bowling to Captain Rohit Padel, who surveys the field. Let's see, there is a man on the fine leg boundary. Third man inside the 30-yard circle. Backward point. Extra cover. Sweeper. And he's driving down to third man. Anthony Lewis getting his big frame behind it. Keeps it down to a single. So 52 Padel. And he will give you the stats in a minute. As Sampal will take his first delivery. So here comes Redhead. Yorker length takes it out, not able to stop it in his follow through, and they scamper through for 1. And the total goes on to 162. So good delivery there by Redhead, right up in the block hole. And Sampal had to dig it out. So 162 for 6. He's looking to swing. That beats the keeper down to the boundary. That's 4 wides. I would think, yes, the wide come signal here by umpire Bayam. So 5 runs added to the total, 167. So there is Padel 50 coming in of 35 deliveries, 4 fours and 1 6 in his half century. So Redhead wants to tighten up. 167 for 6. And he's driving out too long off it, over the fence. 1, 2 bounces across the ropes for 4. And so Padel continues to push on. He moves on to 54. The total now went to 171. 171 for 6. So Sampal, the non-striker, he's on 1. 54 to Padel, who is on strike. And he's driving out to mid-off. Catch taken. And there was Ned at mid-off. He was driving straight into the hands of Ned, who takes the catch. 171 for 7. Diving catch there by Ned. And success on the part of Windwards. He makes his way back and out in the middle. So 2 new batters at the crease. So Padel having had a pretty good knock for so Practice makes his way out to join Sampal. So Practice takes guard, looks around the field. 171 for 7. Success for Redhead. And that is slapped over the top. That would clear the fence. It does. That's 6. It was back of a length and he stood up and he slapped it over long off. And clearing the fence for 6. And the total now went to 177. 177 for 7. Lots of 7s. And I think there is a 1 delivery remaining in this, the penultimate over. Over number 19. And he's swinging at that top edge. Lewis is circling underneath it. Takes the catch. And so success for Redhead of his final delivery. Having been smacked for 6 the previous delivery. He came back, picked up the wicket off his final delivery of his spell, and it's now 177 for 8, 177 for 8 here at the Park Hill playing field. So Nepal just losing their way a bit, and with 1 over remaining, we wait to see who will bowl that final over. It looks like Ned, and as I am now joined by Anthony Denny, who had other duties to perform. So welcome to Park Hill playing field and welcome to the final over of the Nepal's innings.
Thank you very much, Charlo, and good day to all who are in tune to this broadcast. Of course, you're following us on Facebook on VC3 channel 114 and also on our YouTube page. 177 for 8. The Nepalese team batting first here. And when I was following the game, and there was an onslaught early on.
Definitely there was. But the Windwards have pulled things back as Bohara comes out to join Sampal. So Sampal will be on strike. He's facing up to Ned, who is bowling this final over. His last over. Send the stumps flying. Ned in. Got a Yorker length delivery. I know. Sampal is coming down hard on it. And Ned knocking it down. And there is no run. So a precious dot at this stage goes into the scorebook, Eddie. So 5 legal deliveries remaining.
Without a doubt. And Ned for somewhat of a shortened run, but he's really generating some pace.
And he's taken on the pad onto a short fine leg. So 2 dots go into the scorebook. And Nepal 177 for 8. So Ned, he has had a good spell. And kept things tight. And really want to finish very strongly here. And he's swinging that out to mid-wicket who comes off the boundary. Descarte. And not a good throw indeed. And giving away that extra run. So the total goes on to 179. 179 for 8. It was a high return, and there was Douglas looking to pluck it out of the air. And it bubbles through his hands. And the batters scamper through for a second. So 179 for 8. With some 3 legal deliveries remaining. Swinging and missing. And good over so far by Ned. Some 3 dots in the over, just 2 runs. And he would want to perhaps take out a wicket or ensure that there are no boundaries in the final 2 deliveries.
Well, thus far, a very good last over here from Ned as he continues.
He's driving and missing again outside the off stump, throwing the kitchen sink at it, as we would say, missing, and another dot goes into the scorebook. So a very, very good over indeed by Darren Ned for the final over. 179 for 8, One legal delivery remaining. And Ned, can we see a dot ball? We'd wait to see. Sampal taken on the pad, and they scamper through for a single. So let's see any signal from umpire Butler. There are no signals, so inside edge into the pad. 180 for 8 of 20. And I think the Windwards really pulled things back very nicely, Eddie, getting among the wickets and really putting pressure on Nepal to the back end of the innings.
Yes, and the bowling attack, must be commended here today. Parker, as you know, very picturesque field indeed, but it's a very small outfield, and 179, a target of 189 runs per over, as we would have seen in the very first game last Tuesday, is gettable here at Park Hill, and we must commend the effort of the Wooden Islands bowling outfit. Ned, of course, leading his team off, and the likes of Descartes and not forgetting Larry Edwards and company, they must be commended.
Yeah, they definitely have to be commended. I think they kept things, they very see themselves getting up to 180 as we see umpires Butler and Byam making their way out to the middle. And very soon we're going to see the opening pair for the Windward Island Volcanoes, who are going to come out to do battle. First game 196. Melius.
Well, the two openers are making their way into the middle. Captain Melius, along with forget that for you in a bit. So yes, Charles, I was saying the two teams are out into the middle. Wooden Island Volcanoes now preparing to respond to the 179, chasing a target of 180. And I believe it's Captain Melius out there. We'll try to get the player who has stat number 45 on his shirt for the Wooden Islands. But meantime, Nepal, they're in the middle. And looks as if it's going to be Bohara to get things going from the southern end here at the Park Hill playing field. So Milius and Ogis.
Milius and Ogis.
Right.
Akim Ogis.
The two openers for the Wooden Islands Volcanoes as Bohara. That number 10 shirt just picking up that white ball and making sure that his mark is fully in place. And will soon break into his stride to bowl this, the first delivery of the Wooden Islands response, chasing a target of 180. And doesn't seem as if he's quite ready. There's just one or two little adjustments being made. Captain Padel is close by, not on screen, but pretty much close by in a mid-off position.
It looks like Sampal who is going to pick it up from this other end.
So race is in. And this one is played down into that shot. Well, it's more or less in a gully position almost, and no run off the bat. So the Wooden Islands yet to get off the mark. So there you see Nepal 179 for 9, and the Volcanoes chasing a target of 180. This delivery, Wellness walks it off his pads and player there in that short middle position slipped in the process, and giving away 2 runs and some scrappy work in the field by Nepal.
Very scrappy work very early in the innings. And easy what should have been an easy single. He gave away that extra run. So Melius is off the mark. That would do his confidence a world of good. And no batter likes to be a knot. And he would have to lead from the front for the Windward Island Volcanoes try to get up to 180.
So back at the top of his run, and now turns. Races in. And this one outside the off stump and cracked down to that third man position, but the third man well in place, well in behind it. And
Auguste comes in to strike for the very first time. So there's a left-hand, right-hand combination here for Windward Island Volcanoes. And this could be a little problematic sometimes for some bowlers because you do have to change your line to the left and right hand combination. And if you're not really on top of your game, you can find yourself under some pressure.
So Auguste settles. And ball that is worked into the onside. And again you see that misfield, Captain Padel this time around. And that is something that the Nepalese team will certainly need to work on, and work on very quickly if they would want to restrict the Windward Islands from achieving that target.
Well, I think that single was a bit risky. Had he picked it up cleanly, I think Auguste could have found himself in some trouble. But in the end, he got in very safely because not seeing the Nepalese picking up the ball, I think they're creating the Cardinals enough taking their eye off the ball at the last minute.
This one, Melius plays it neatly off his pass to that deep square leg position. And just one more added to the total. Hydro coming in, but the wicketkeeper looking quite athletic, plucking it out of the air, goalkeeper style. And just one more added is 5 now for the loss of no wicket in this, the first over being bowled by Sampal. For the Volcanoes chasing a target of 180. And of course, Captain Rohit Paudel leading from the front for the Nepalese. Sampal, what should be the final delivery of this first over, down the leg side, and this is a wide. And they take a run in the process, so that's 2 more added to the total. And the delivery certainly has to be rebowled. Wide now being signaled there. So 7 without loss. And Sampal, fairly good first over, keeping the batsmen in check apart from that wide delivery just a while ago. And this time we'll be bowling to Melius. Outside the off stump and driven square. Good piece of work there by, looks like Irie. And no run taken. That's the end of the first over. 7 from the first, and fairly good start there from Nepal.
Yeah, I think a pretty good start indeed. But Melius would just have to just look to place the ball a little better. I think he was looking to hit it too hard, and in the end hitting it straight to a fielders rather than just delaying the shot a bit and looking for the gap. Had opportunities to do a bit of scoring, but that's how it is.
Well, it was outside the off stump and it sat up, got back to ball, but as you said, really and truly should have looked to go on between that point and gully field, or even a little bit more to the right of the point player. And no run resulting. But we're going to have the second over of this 20 as a nice breeze continue to flow into our commentary position. And picking up the attack, looks like, is it Prakash? Comes in now to bowl to Auguste, and one that he works into the onside, mid on in position, not a problem.
Auguste has been timing the ball well. He's been striking it very well, but hitting it thus far straight to the fielder.
And that's the wind doing a bit there with the bail. Batsman immediately realizing it. Had to pull out. So practice it is. From the hills here at Park Hill. Races past umpire Butler. This wasn't driven. Again, well driven. But finding the fielder in that short, well, mid-off position.
Well, again, we see the fielder not picking it up. It was hit very firmly indeed, and Ogis was still looking for that single. And again, it was Captain Padel, and the guilty offender.
Well, again, it's an area that's Nepal as they prepare for World Cup 2024, T20 World Cup, that they'll need to certainly work on. In this game, one run can determine the difference between winning and losing. And if you give them away in the field, they certainly will pay in the end. There's Captain Melius as practice now comes in. And down the leg side, that should have taken something because there's no signal there from the umpire.
Maybe brushing the pad on its way through.
So
the keeper standing up, and good take down the leg side. Remove the bail, but the batter foot was grounded.
Well, we've seen three deliveries thus far in this over, just one run. And Melius and Ogis will probably want to get things going. Outside the off, nice flowing off drive, square the wicket. Oh, lovely runs into the backward point fence, shallow.
That was sweet. The sound off the bat, the placement, it's about everything about that shot was perfect. And Melius really showing his class.
So, boundary there to the Windward Islands Volcanoes skipper, Kimanu Melius, quite a young cricketer. And it's good to see him being given the opportunity to lead at this level as a practice. Well, coming once again. And down the leg side is a loud appeal.
Well, umpire says not out, but I was looking at that back leg. I was very close to the line. Let's see. Down the leg side. Okay. So I think he might have been lucky there, just had a little bit behind that line. And umpire Afran Bayan in perfect position. He said not out. And Melius lives to fight on. Again, that's into the pads. And a single. Airy coming through, not picking up. Again, that single. A leg by signal by umpire Butler. The over comes to an end. So it's after 2 overs, 12 without loss. And Melius might have find himself a bit lucky.
Very much so, Charlo. But at 12 after the first 2, just 6 runs per over. Sort of a mild start, if you can put it like that, from the 2 openers here from the Windward Islands Volcanoes. And they will certainly want to get the pace on. You don't want to have a situation later on down where you have a required run rate of 12 and 13 and 14 plus. Yes, of course, we know that there's some big hitters to come for the Windward Islands Volcanoes, but that start is so very much important in terms of immediately putting the opposition on that back foot.
Definitely, and these two would want to do that. Both St. Lucians, they should know each other well, and we'd really want to put a good start on the cards for the Windwards so that the others can build on.
Sampal this time to bowl to Melius, and he's back in defense, just pushing it back up along the pitch. And no run resulting, 13 for no loss in this over number 3. So the ICC trophy, of course, here in St. Vincent and Grenadines arrived yesterday at the Argyle International Airport. Today was on the windward side of the island.
Well, in fact, prior to the start of the game, they had passed through for viewing and so they were on the field for a while.
Worked through the mid-wicket here, and it's going to get close to that fence. Let's see if the fielder can pick it up. No, he can't. So that's 4 well-taken runs there by
Melius.
Melius. Well timed.
Yeah, I think you do get value for your shots here at Park Hill. That was sweetly timed and it raced over the outfield. Two fielders trying to converge, but it went between both of them and across the ropes and into the fence for 4. That's the second boundary for Melius. So he would want to continue the good works for the Windward Islands.
So Sampal back to the top of his mark. And some 12 runs off his over just Savard. This one, and there was Melius looking to come down, but this one was dug in even shorter and it jumped at him, giving him absolutely no chance. And good work there by Sampal.
Yeah, good thinking on the part of Sampal. Saw him moving and he banged it in a bit short. Good bounce, good carry, and Melius had to watch it go by and taken cleanly by the keeper standing back. So good carry for the keeper. Surface had been very, very true. And the bounce, the pace, and certainly is the sort of surface that you can play through the line. And once he's up in the slot, Melius, I'm sure, will go with it.
This one is down the leg side and will be signaled wide. It is signaled wide. And one more to the total, 18 now for no loss in this, the third over. I believe 2.3 deliveries thus far. And Sampal
losing his radar.
Yes.
A bit.
I'm talking about losing the radar. We've lost a bit of the sunshine, but certainly that has not affected conditions here at Park Hill, as Sampal with that number 10 on his back outside the off stump and taking the pace off of that one, Sampal. And Melius was somewhat seemed to be caught in two minds there. He eventually just poked at it and pushed it calmly into the offside.
Well, he certainly was deceived by a well-bowled slow delivery there by Sampal. And Melius looked to tap it into the offside on the bounce to the keeper, who didn't collect it cleanly, but there's still no run.
So here comes Sampal. Outside the off stump and driven square. That's 4 well taken runs, but I believe Irie felt he should have done a little bit better there.
He definitely should have done better. Yeah, he would be disappointed. So too with Sampal. I think he was looking at the bounce, didn't get the body behind it, and it went past him and into the fence.
So 4 more runs to the total, 22 without loss. And we are just about 1 more delivery remaining in this, the third over. As right arm over the wicket. And again, oh, that was well placed. Down to third man there from Melius, showing his class.
Definitely. I think that's the shot of the morning. He waited on it and he placed it. Rather than looking for power, he looked for placement. And it was really a gem.
So 26 after the first 3 overs, going at 8 runs per over. And these two at the wicket, especially Captain Melius, who's on 20, they're now stepping up the scoring rate here for the Windward Islands as they chase the target of 180.
I recall Melius at the under-19 level at Cumberland and played a blistering innings of 100. I think it was against Jamaica. He really took the bowlers to all parts of the ground. And you saw that talent in the young man. And here he is at the Windwards level, regional level, and really now proving his worth.
Well, we're going to be having some spin from the northern end, and replacing Pratis will be Rajbansi. Hope my pronunciation is correct. Will be coming into bowl to Ogis, and slow left arm over the wicket. So left arm off spinner. Comes in now to bowl to Ogis. And was beaten outside the off stump and had his foot grounded. But the wicketkeeper didn't take it, so any possible stumping went through the window as far as that is concerned. So August looking quite tentative there. And Lalit Rajbasi comes in now. This one he tucks nicely off the hip onto that short fine leg position and gets off to another run. 3 now to his total, and 27 the score for the Winning Islands in the 4th over.
So there's rotation of the strike, the right hand, left hand combination. And Lalit will have to now bowl to the right hander. Let's see how he will, what sort of line he will have. Previous delivery to the left hander was on the body. That would be a good delivery for the right hander.
So Captain Melia settles on weight. And this one he hikes high. That's going to go all the way over long off. That's 6 runs. And well taken shot there by Melius. He was to the pitch of it very quickly indeed. And went through with the shot. Long off Jallo.
Well, he's showing his class. He's showing his intent. And I was tossed up and he lifted it over long off. Who had some interest in it. But in the end, just watched it sailed over his head and over the ropes for 6.
So Melis is on to 26 as Lalit comes in. This time he just pushes it into the offside very quietly. Fielder comes around, picks up. Total remains on 33 without loss. The Winning Islands Volcanoes. It's been a measured start, but of course Melis has been aggressive at times. And wrapped on the bad pad, going back there, and not out says umpire. Loud appeal.
Seems to be going down the leg. Butler, experienced umpire.
Former West Indies
player.
Yes.
Left arm fast medium bowler.
Lalit. This time punches into that point position. Fielder is there to cover. That's the end of over number 4, and at the end of it, it is 33 without loss. The Winning Islands going at just over 8 runs per over, and in this the early overs, not a bad
start. And I think that in this over, Lalit, who had been struck for 6, but I think he came back very good in the end. Really tightened it up and not giving Melius that opportunity to lift him over the top. Most of the deliveries after that had to be played off the back foot.
Yes. So let's see how things are going to continue. We had Sampal who started, but spin now being introduced from this to the southern end. So Captain Rohit Padal looking to slow things down. Looks as if it's
like Airy. Yes.
Napindra Singh Airy coming out of Old Ogis, and Ogis gets one wide outside the off stump. That's very wide indeed. And Airy not off to the kind of start that Captain Padel would like to see. Tucks away at his sleeves and are now coming to bowl once again. And that was short outside the off stump wide, and August should have really and truly done better with that one.
Well, he hit it straight to backward point.
So 34 without loss in this, the 4th over. After deliveries already bowled in this one, as Irie comes into Ogis, and Ogis, well, that was uppishly, and again we see the not good feeling there from the Nepalese fielder.
Certainly, I think this an area that they'll have to work on going into the World Cup. They will have to do quite a bit of work in terms of their fielding, because we have seen so many lapses already, and you cannot afford to do that when you're playing against international teams.
They will hurt you, and hurt you badly as far as that is concerned. Nepal would have taken the number 2 spot coming out of Asia. This one is swung high over long on into the bushes. As a matter of fact, it strikes the concrete structure just above the ground.
Rebounded into the bushes, and it was very hard indeed. But I was going to make the point, very interestingly, because Airy has not tried to bowl this slow it up, flight the ball. He has pushed every delivery through, and they are actually playing him as a medium pacer, which makes life much easier for the batters.
So true. Much more easier, Charlo. 41 without loss in this, the 5th over. And Melius settles Erie. Had a good innings in the first game, scored 50 plus. That would have carried the Nepalese team home, but this one is now driven into the offside. And playing that short extra cover position, comes around, picked up. Total remains on 41 without loss. Outside the off stump, and it was full pitched there from Erie.
I think Melius was looking at the umpire hoping that it would be a wide.
Comes in once again. This one cracked, and 1-2 bounces into the long off area, and that's 4 well taken runs there for Melius.
So Melius continued to show his intent, and he's been striking the ball very well indeed. Erie not flighting the delivery, pushing them through, and Melius likes it as it comes onto the bat very nicely. And he's capitalizing on every opportunity he gets.
So after 5 overs, 45 for no wicket, and 9 runs exactly per over, the run rate for the Windward Islands Volcanoes. And very good start indeed from this opening pair. Captain Commander Melius, he's on 36 not out and just 4 from the bat of Auguste. Of course, the bunch of the strike being taken up by Melius.
Well, definitely, and we see Lalit has been pulled out of the attack, and it looked like Pratis, who comes back into the attack. He had 1 over, so he's coming back into the attack, and it's the Auguste who is really a spectator, who was a spectator now taking strike.
Take some strike. Here comes Pratis now to Auguste, and this one wraps him on the pad. He was looking to pull it somewhere over backward square leg, but didn't get it back onto ball.
I don't think it was short enough for that kind of a shot. It would have been advisable to tuck it on the onside and pick up the ones. But he was looking to go over square leg and really missed it, taking on the body.
Well, it's one of the dangers being a spectator at the other end. You sometimes do get a little raggedy, and we saw that there from Auguste. Let's see what happens this time around. Gets bat onto the ball as he hikes this one over long on, and got to get pretty close to the boundary. Picked up there now. They take 2 in the process as a throw comes in, and 2 more to the bat of Auguste. He's now on to 6. The Volcanoes there 47 without loss in this the 6th over. So nice little decent crowd here at Park Hill, and on Saturday we expect a huge turnout as Pratis comes in now. And that one was almost a baseball type shot, and he
gone all the way.
All the way.
So the 50 comes up.
53 without loss.
5.3 overs.
Good going by on the part of the Windward Island Volcanoes, and that one was hit with some sort of despair. Just walked into it and slapped it.
There it is.
There you go.
Slapped it over long off.
So 53 without loss as Rohit just having a brief word there with Pratis, Captain Rohit Padel, and Pratis will now come in now to Auguste. And this one he drives straight to mid-off. Padel.
Sweet songed off the bat.
Yes, and it's good to see Padel sticking the ball without any bump.
Yeah, straight to the mid-off fielder, but that was it, struck very firmly.
Yeah, lovely drive indeed there off the bat of Auguste. But unfortunately, could only find the fielder at mid-off, and Captain Rohit Padel.
I think 2 or 3 meters to the left or right, that would have gone to the fence.
Certainly. There's Pratis. And this one he pulls over mid-wicket. That is going to go out to the ground. It is into the banana field below. 6 well taken runs.
But that was disdainfully hit. He just picked it up as if he was taking
food from
candy from a baby and just dispatched it over mid-wicket.
So Auguste now getting into the run feast here. Of course, Captain Melius on 36, and there you see that pull way over mid-wicket, and 6 more runs to the total here for the Windward Islands, 59 without loss.
Perhaps he's saying to his captain, you can do it, I can do it better. And really, that was a disdainful shot.
Without a doubt. So just 1 ball remaining in this, the 6th over, and they're over 10 runs per over at this point in time. The Windward Islands Volcanoes, as we await the return of the ball. Both batsmen there on screen are looking into the area, that mid-wicket area, where the ball went over. I'm yet to see any thing being done by the reserve umpire. So
Well, I think umpire Biome is down at the boundary edge looking over the wall. I'm not too sure. Perhaps there are some youngsters on that side going to retrieve the ball, and he's looking because we have not seen the third umpire as yet
so
going out with any replacement. But certainly, what we have seen so far from the two games, it is that the faster bowlers seem to get hit about rather easily because the bounce is true. The ball comes on very nicely.
certainly.
And batters are comfortable playing through the line.
Well,
So I think the ball has been returned.
yes, it is. And I see the umpire making his way back into the middle. In the background, one of those lovely little houses here at Park Hill. A nice community indeed, and a sporting community.
Very much so.
Close to South Rivers, another community that loves their cricket, who have produced former West Indies fast bowler Cameron Coffey.
Definitely. Quite a few players coming out from the South Rivers. Butler, who played for the West Indies as well. South Rivers chap. Lyndon James, who played for the Windwards. We have seen him at Stanford.
Yes.
South Rivers as well. So there are a few names that you can look around and can speak of.
Well, Ogis is about to resume his innings as the ball has been returned, and here comes practice now. And this one off the edge, it will look like a bit of edge onto that one, down to that short third man position. That's the end of the sixth over. At the end of it, 59 for no loss. The Windward Islands are chasing 180 for victory, just under 10 runs per over.
Just under 10 runs and over, and I think a pretty good start by the Windwards, putting the pressure, early pressure on Nepal, and they would have to do some work. We see Melius just signaling to the pavilion. Perhaps he's going to done away with his helmet, and it's going to be Lalit who is going to pick it up from the southern end. So it's going to be spin, and Melius, he's comfortable. He decides, I'm going to done with the helmet, and I'm going to see how I can take charge. He's on 36, Ogis on 18, and really a good opening partnership, coming 50 coming in 5.3 overs.
Well, it was a little slow for the openers, especially in the first 2 overs, but since that third over, they've really taken to the attack of Nepal, and hence, of course, scoring at just about 10 runs over in the first 6. So Lalit been switched from the northern to the southern end as the breeze blows across the outfield, and this one spoons off the face of the bat, not immediately the pitch of it, but nonetheless fell into a harmless zone there for Melius. He got a single in the process, Charlo.
Definitely a good delivery. Spinning across him is the left arm spinner, getting that one to go across the right hander. I think he was looking to tuck it on the onside, got a leading edge.
So Lalit it is to continue. This time to Ogist. Tries. And this one is going to beat the fielder. The bounce would have undid him there. And that's 4 more runs.
Definitely, he was slipped hard. It bounced in front of the fielder. Short, diminutive guy. Bounce, he was jumping for all his worth. It went over his hands, across the ropes and into the fence for 4. So Ogis continue to enjoy taking the attack to Nepal.
So here's Lalit once again. And this time he tries down to long off, and the fielder is on the fence there. 1 more to the total.
65 without loss. We're in over number 7.
So the pressure definitely on the Nepalese team at this point in time. They'll want to see the back of one of these very, very soon. And there's Melius just gently tapping it into the onside. And Lalit seemed to be giving Melius a bit of a worry. Still was not to the pitch of that one, Charlo.
Well, he was content to just defend.
So let's see how he responds to this one. Again, pushing out and into that short mid-wicket position. The fielder comes off the fence, and there's one more added to the total. Now 67 for no loss. With an Island Volcanoes in pursuit of 180.
66.
66 without loss. There's Lalit. And this one, in the end, good work there by Irie on the deep mid-wicket boundary. And getting that return in, just one more added to the total. Now on to 67.
So at the end of over number 7, 67, 80, 38 to Melios, 23, 24 to Ogis. And a very good start indeed by the Windward Islands.
Yes, the dressing room at this point in time for the Volcanoes should be pretty comfortable. The batters are to come, the likes of Kavim Hodge and company, certainly they will be feeling pretty, as I said, comfortable in the dressing room and under no immediate pressure at this point in time. But I believe these two will want to continue and get as close as possible to the 100 to make life even more easier for the batters to come.
Well, definitely. And there's a change in bowling at the far end, the northern end. It's going to be Gulshan.
Looks like Gulshan, yes.
Who is going to pick it up from the northern end when he'll bowl to the left-handed Ogis, Akeem Ogis.
So Gulshan, right arm, medium fast to Ogis. Then Ogis just guides this one down to that short third man position and immediately off for the single. One more to the total, now 68 for no loss. The Windward Island Volcanoes in this, the 8th over. And Gulshan, there is him on screen. Tall, lanky figure indeed. Inspects a ball and now turn. The number 15 bearing down on his back, races in now. This time to Melinos, drives. Lovely shot indeed. It looked easy, but it was a well-taken drive there by Melinos.
It was just, he caressed it through the covers and long off had a run, but you do get value for your shots, and it raced across the outfield, and in the end, he just watched it go across the ropes. So 42 now to Melios, really a good captain innings here and putting his team into a very good position.
Without a doubt, it's 72 without loss, and this the 8th over. And he just caressed that one, but it seemed to just picked up speed as it made its way to the boundary. Gulshan. And this one goes square. They're off for a quick single. And I believe Ogis would have been in.
Yeah, I think he would have been there comfortably. And so good judgment of the single there. He was backing up very quickly. And the total goes on to 73. So good cricket on the part of Windward Island Volcanoes.
So the scoring rate is, I believe, exactly 10 runs or over there about. And Gulshan make his way back to the top of his mark. Ogis hoiks this one high. Is he going to beat the fielder? No, he doesn't. And a good take and catch there, keeping his eye on the rope. So there goes Ogis, gone for 25, looking to clear the long off fence, but didn't have enough on it. And slapping the pads as he make his way back, because he knew that there was an opportunity for him to probably press on and make even more for the Windward Islands today.
Well, definitely, I think he just stroked it rather than really putting some power behind it. You saw that on the replay. He just stroked it and it went right a long way. And good judgment on the part of the fielder and taking that just in front of the ropes. And you can see him there just stabling himself as he looks down at the ropes. But so good judgment on the part of the fielder, and Ogis has to make his way back.
Am I seeing his foot on the rope there?
It's a bit difficult for us from this side to see, but
well,
I did a boundary check.
pretty close there. But Ogis is already back in the pavilion. There's no DSR here at Park Hill. We're just showing that for the benefit of our viewers. And new batsman is out.
And Stephen Pascal.
Stefan Pascal. So 73 for the loss of 1 in this 8 over. But indeed a good start here for the Winning Islands. So it's Pascal to take his first knock. And beaten outside the off stump. He just pushed at it. Didn't really and truly move his feet there. Just pushed the bat to ball. And went through to wicketkeeper. Total remains on 73 for 1.
So a good partnership being broken there by Gulshan, as Ogis just stroked it and was caught on the long off boundary. He went for 25, and Pascal getting his first knock.
Yes, first knock for these games thus far. And this one, looking to guide it between the wicketkeeper and that gully fielder. They didn't get anything onto it. That's the end of over number 9, and at the end of it, it's 73 for 1. Winning Islands chasing 180. They are.
It's really the end of over number 8.
Number 8. So
just about 9 runs and over.
Well, that's the required rate to take you up to 180. So they're winning a good clip, the Volcanoes, as Lalit will continue from the southern end. As Captain Melius, he's not out on 43. No doubt will want to get to that 50 and then press on for the Winning Island Volcanoes to ensure that they take victory in this the second game. Lalit. And Melius pulls one bounce down to long on and takes a single in the process. Total goes on now to 74. Of course, in the first game, when Nepal looked more or less dead and buried, the likes of Irie and Sampal and plucked victory out of the air.
Definitely, and they took the faster bowlers to the cleaners.
Lalit. And this one bounced a bit at the batsman. And Pascal, new to the wicket, caught in a bit of a problem there, but in the end,
I think he's yet to get bat on ball.
There comes Lalit. This one is through the offside. Fielder comes off that extra cover boundary. And finally off the mark is Stefan Pascal, Grenadian player, known more for his pace rather than handling the bat. So I'm a little surprised that he's in at number 3, but maybe just being given that opportunity. As Lalit comes in now to Melius. And Melius, this one off the edge is going to probably get into the boundary. He's looking to pull this one somewhere over mid-wicket. But it took the outside edge, and luckily for him, it didn't spoon or anything like that, or went to any fielder, and raced down to the third man fence.
It flew down to third man and into the fence for 4. He goes on to 48. The total now on to 79. But I think he was lucky there.
Yeah, without a doubt, yes. Well, sometimes you need a bit of luck.
Yes, Lady Luck has followed him.
So, Lalit, as I said, seemed to be creating a bit of a problem and there you see the return ball striking Pascal. But Lalit comes in now, and this time he's to the pitch of it and works it into the onside. Fielding to his own bowling, there's Lalit. And Melius settles. Delivery that he rocks back and just forces into the offside. And for a moment I thought he was going to go a little bit more to the left of Irie, but only found Irie in that cover position. That's the end of over number 9, and at the end of it is 79 for 1.
79 for 1. So a good over indeed, I would say, on the part of Lalit, pulling things back a bit. And these two would have to just pace themselves as we look at a number of school children making their way into the pavilion.
And it's very good for the youngsters to come and see cricket at this level. Nepal international team, of course, they're into their second World Cup in the Caribbean, and there you see even some of the young lasses being here at Park Hill. Charging down the wicket, there's Pascal. He gets one, and the fielders onto it. They're looking for the second, but that is not going to be. And total goes on now to 80. 80 for 1. And over number 10. And there we see some of the students. I believe they're from the Park Hill Government School.
Just around a few yards, 100 yards away from here.
As Gulshan motos in, and this time wrapping the pad there of Melius, and there was no appeal. That was outside the off stump, so no threat there to Melius. Just missed the ball completely.
I think it was a little bit too casual there in terms of the way he approached that, and he has to be very mindful. As a captain, you would want to see your team home.
Well, he's on 48, too short of that half century. As here comes Gulshan. And that's a loud appeal, but I believe the height there might have certainly helped Melius, but a good delivery from Gulshan.
It continues to create a bit of a problem for the batters, and they threw for a leg by.
Interesting to have a look at this replay. That's for the run out. There was absolutely no problem there, but I believe Melius was saved by the height that time around.
Yes, because he was going back, and I think it was above the knee roll, and I think umpire Butler just indicating there the height.
Yes. So Pascal will now take strike. Charges down the wicket and straight into the arms of the fielder there at that whitish long on position, and Nepal came in the second wicket.
A good catch indeed. It was hit very firmly indeed, but straight to the fielder who judged it well. He charged the bowler. He hit it very firmly indeed. And there is the fielder just taking that catch in front of the ropes. Again, very close to the ropes, but I think from our vantage point, I was looking at it, Eddie, I think he was quite safe.
Quite safe. And we saw that in the replay there as he tosses the ball back. So, Windwards Islands losing their second wicket, that of Stefan Pascal. Not normally a top order batter. And I was, asking the question as to why you're bringing Pascal at this point in time. But the dressing room will certainly have the rationale. He's gone nonetheless, and it's 81 for the loss of 2 in this, the 10th over. So, Melius is still there. Kimani Melius. So, Kavem Hodge, the new batter, batting at number 4 for the Windwards Island Volcanoes. Gulshan in, and this one well played there by Hodge.
I'm looking at the structure. It certainly does not look like Kavem Hodge. Okay, Kavem Hodge was the batter who got out, and Pascal is now at the crease. So he's off the mark on 1. And well played here by Melios. He gets a single. He goes on to 49. And the total now on to 83. But Kavem Hodge was the batter who got out.
Yeah.
I was looking at the number and it says Kavem Hodge. And Pascal is now making his way out. He's on 1.
So, information being rectified with our scorers. So it's actually Stefan Pascal who's in the middle. And Kavem Hodge, who didn't really look the part.
Definitely, I think when one looks at him from the very first game to this one, really seems not to have really been middling it. And in the end, perished at a deep mid-wicket position.
So 83 for the loss of 2. The Windward Island Volcanoes, after some 10 overs, halfway mark, 180 required. And there's a bowling change at the southern end. It looks as if it's going to be Bertel.
Yes, Bertel is going to pick it up.
This time he'll be bowling to Melios, who's on 49. And Melios gets that half century, just caresses it down to backward point. Fielder comes around, picked up one more to the total. That's 50 to Melios as he raises his bat. And certainly getting a good applause from this appreciative crowd here at Park Hill. Windward Islands now on to 84 for the loss of 2 wickets in this the 11th over. And now Stefan Pascal is going to take strike. So here comes Bertel into Pascal. Pascal drives it into the offside. You can only find Irie, who's marshalling in that cover region. So that is true.
So Melios 50 coming off 36 deliveries, 7 fours and 2 sixes.
Good going there by the Windward Island Volcanoes captain. 50 off 36. As this one is well fielded there by Bertel. And he's rubbing that left knee of his, would have been struck in the knee. And even more so as he dove to his left, you can see the remains of the dust from the pitch on his clothing.
Well, he's dusting himself off. But it was a very good stop on the part of Bertel there.
Well done. Comes in now, and this time worked off the pad. Fielder comes in on mid-wicket, and one more. Total now on to 85 for the loss of 2. So it's important that these two in Melios, as we look at this replay once again, there's Bertel coming off with a good save, and I think he would have probably struck his knee into the pitch. That's primarily what happened a while ago. He's much better now, comes in now to bowl to Melios, and Melios hits this one high.
Someone is circling underneath
the long off fielder. He does take the catch. So there goes the prize scalp of Melios just after completing his 50. Looking to go over long off, didn't make it this time. Catch taken, Windward Islands 85 for 3.
Well, the top edge, and I was just going to make the point that Nepal just pulling things back a bit, because the Windward Island Volcano, they were going at a pretty good clip. And that's the problem here. You lost a few wickets can really put you under pressure. And I think Nepal just about pulling things back here, as we can see Descarte making his way out.
And yet another good catch and on the ropes.
Right on the ropes.
The 3 dismissals have all been on the ropes.
Very close to the ropes as well.
Very, very close to the ropes. And on all occasions, the fielders doing some good work.
Good judgment on the part of the fielders.
So they've been good at the catching. A little scrappy in the outfield. But at 85 for 3, Nepal still very much in the hunt here today at the Park Hill playing field in this practice game, all in preparation for Cricket World Cup 2024. That's a T20 Cricket World Cup being held in the Caribbean and the United States. And of course, the final of these practice games will take place on Saturday. We'll come back here at the Parker playing field. After that, Nepal will depart St. Vincent and they'll head on to Texas, USA, where I understand they'll be having some practice sessions also. We'll be taking on a Houston 11. And it'll be interesting to see cricket in those parts in Texas.
Oh, definitely. I think they are looking forward for it.
More accustomed to New York and Florida, Fort Lauderdale, but Texas, that's pretty interesting.
Very much so. Had the opportunity of passing through Texas once. Right. So cricket really spreading its wings in a number of areas. And I think there will be cricket in Long Island.
Yes.
During the World Cup.
Yes.
Those are areas that you're not known to hear a lot about.
Here comes Bertel, all dusted, but he's picked up the scalp of Melius, and this time Descartes is back. Ball is quickly back into the gloves of the keeper, but couldn't avoid that single. The end of over number 11, and the end of a very, very good over there from Bertel.
And a successful over as well.
Yes.
So it's 85, so the run rate dropping, and they would expect, and the Windward Islands would expect a few batters to come in and try to push things along. Descartes, he can hit the ball very far, strong lad, and he's off the mark. So just wait to see. 86 for 3 at the end of over number 11, and with Descartes on 1, Pascal, they would want a partnership between these two and really push the pressure back on Nepal, because Nepal just about pushing the pressure onto the Windward Island batters. So he's airy from the northern end.
Driven into the offside, and Padel not being able to get around in time. One more added to the total. It's now up to 87 for the loss of 3. That's 87 for 3. Windward Island Volcanoes taking a target. Fielder is off the boundary, and just one more resulting. So they are certainly rotating the strike, the Windward Island Volcanoes, picking up the singles, but having lost those 2 quick wickets, we certainly want to consolidate here and press on outside the off stump and into that point position. But there's Bertel picking it up, and no run resulting. Good outfield cricket there from Bertel. Avery now to...
Where are you going?
Well, Pascal was just simply there looking at Descartes like, where are you hustling to? Got back in time nonetheless. Airy. And that's the reverse sweep. And there's Bertel diving neatly to his right there. Didn't pick up cleanly, but did enough to avoid the ball passing him and adding even more. They got a single in the process. It's now 89 for the loss of 3.
I certainly have saved the boundary.
Yes. So Stefan Pascal. This one is bowled. And a really awful looking shot there from Pascal. And he looks disappointed, but I would have been disappointed with a shot like that. It really and truly was agricultural, as we said, and losing his stumps in the process. The Windward Islands now 89 for 4.
Well, I think a poor shot on the part of Pascal, because you must recognize that Airy has not been flighting the balls.
No shape whatsoever.
He's pushing it through, so it would hustle you. It's easier to play him on the front foot. There he was looking for a pull shot, and that was through him. The bounce has also done him, because he was looking for a more bounce, but that one kept a little low, and it was through him before he completed the shot.
So Stefan Pascal back to the pavilion, and the new batter is Dylan Douglas, who had a good first game, scored 50 for the Windward Island Volcanoes in that losing cause, posted 196 in that game, and a lot will be expected of Douglas along with Descartes, who also would have supported Douglas in that opening game.
And Dylan Douglas, a very talented individual indeed. Good batter, good all-round player. He keeps wicket. He also bowls off spin. Very good in the field as well. So very, very talented, very grounded cricketer. And one would hope, for the sake of Windward Island Volcanoes, that he comes good again.
Well, Bertel is going to continue. And this is the 13th over. So
Nepal just about tightening the screws.
certainly. At one time, the Windward Islands were just over 10 runs per over as Bertel comes in to Descartes outside the off stump and left alone, having a look at the umpire as if it was wide, but umpire not interested. Considered to be a legal delivery. And Bertel tossing the ball from hand to hand. Moves in now to Descartes with that attempted reverse sweep and missed by the wicketkeeper. I believe this is going to be a bye. Let's see. Well, apparently would have gotten some bat
Seemed
on
to have got some bat on it.
So not the area that he would have wanted that delivery to go, but getting a run in the process. And that's Descartes going on to 3. It's now 90 for the loss of 4. Bertel. With his leg breaks. Comes in now. And this one knocked around the corner there by Douglas. Looked a little tentative, but got enough bat onto the ball. And in the process, a single getting off the mark. He's on to 1.
So he's off that dreaded 0. And Descartes, the left-hander, comes back into strike. So left-hand, right-hand combination.
Fairly long run up here for Bertel. Comes in now to Descartes. This one hits into the arms of that's
Rohit Paudel, the captain.
Yes.
Out too long on.
Good catch there from the Nepalese captain. And 91 for 5. Descartes, certainly who would have had a lot to offer to the Windward Island Volcanoes going back to the pavilion. Life might be a little bit more difficult going forward from here, Charlo.
Well, certainly, I think it would be very, very difficult. It looks like Ned who is making a result, but good running catch there by the captain. And took it. Their catching have been good, but their outground feeling has really, in some areas, left a lot to be desired.
So that's Rohit Paudel, Nepalese captain, leading from the front as far as that catch was concerned. He's had some scrappy moments in the outfield. But as you said, Charlo, they've taken every opportunity that they've come their way in terms of catches in the Nepal team.
Definitely. And 4 of the batters have all been caught on the boundary. Yes. Except for Pascal, who was bowled, playing a really atrocious shot.
Certainly. So, Darren Ned, a new batter. And Bertel, who's picked up 2 wickets, will continue from the southern end. Came good at the bat in that first game. Almost single-handedly took the Nepal team home. Comes in now to bowl to Ned, and Ned is back. Just forces it into the offside. There's absolutely no run available.
But you
there.
can see the buoyancy in terms of the Nepalese in the field.
Yes.
That's what success does.
Without a doubt. As Bertel with his leg breaks. Coming out the bowl to Ned. And Ned drives down to long on, and that's long off, sorry. That's a well taken shot. 4 good runs there off the bat of Ned.
Oh, definitely a beautiful shot by Ned. But looking at Bertel, he reminds me so much of Rashid Khan. The leg spinner.
Yes. You're so correct, Charlo.
That was tossed up, and Ned was launched into it and drove it sweetly through between extra cover and mid-off, and Captain Paudel on did mid-off boundary, just watched it go across the ropes.
And absolutely no chance there. So 95 for the loss of 5. That's the Volcanoes after 13 overs. And These two in the middle in Ned and Douglas. Ned has already shown that he has the ability, he has the class, and we know what Dylan Douglas can do. So all is not lost here for this Windward Islands team.
So Lalit comes back into the attack.
Switching ends once again. Back to the northern end, the mountainous end, the hillside end here at the Park Hill playing field. Sun out in all its glory here this afternoon. But there's still that nice cooling breeze that's coming into our commentary position. Lalit. And this one, Douglas just works it calmly into the offside. He off for a quick single.
Comfortably taken.
Yes, Irie came around very quickly indeed. And picked up, quickly had the ball back into the gloves of his wicketkeeper, but couldn't avoid that run. 96 for 5. So Lalit it is to continue. And now asking for the fielder just to come around a bit into that deep cover boundary. It's time to bowl to Ned. And Ned showing some respect there. Just working it back up along the pitch. Defensive mood. So Lalit will be happy with that. So to Captain Podell and the rest of this Nepalese team. As coming once again to bowl to Ned. And Ned gets one that jumped at him off of the pitch, but he was on top of it and just pushed it into the offside. One more to the total.
Soft hands and a really comfortable single taken by these two. Dylan Douglas, who have been rather quiet, and comes in to strike.
So Douglas in that 49 on his back. To this delivery, worked it into the head-on area. Fielder comes off the long-on fence, and just one more added. So they're rotating the strikes. They're doing it in singles, but in the 14th over, there's that need for that occasional boundary.
You need some boundaries.
So Nepal will be comfortable with this type of batting, and there's Douglas bowled.
In fact, it was Ned looking to white that over wide long on. Lost his stumps. Our stump knocked back in the process, so Windwards sink further into trouble.
98 for 6, and this is the 14th over. And Ned, as we have a look at the replay, head in the air and completely bowled there. So he goes back to the pavilion. And
as if Hooper makes his way out.
So Hooper, as we know,
can bat.
No rabbit with the bat, yes.
Can bat. Can hit the ball a long way as well.
So there we see Ned not getting to the pitch of that one. Preconceived shot, and that's the whole matter, the pressure, not getting the boundaries. And Ned finding it necessary or wanting to certainly get over the ropes or push the scoring on, giving his wicket away.
That's what pressure does. Pushed you in that mood to want to do something, to push it on, and here it is. He did something rash and paid the penalty.
So Asif Hooper now will settle. Lalit is in. And back and across and just works it into the onside. The bowler fielding to his own bowling. And that's the end of over number 14.
99.
With just 6 more overs to go and 81 to get. 36 deliveries and 81 runs to get.
It's not impossible.
Yeah, but
we really have to see some serious ball beating to get there.
So those are the two batters in the middle. Asif Hooper and Dylan Douglas, who have lost his helmet. Both batsmen, as a matter of fact, without helmet. As it's been slow bowling here from the Nepalese team. Bertel will continue from the southern end.
He's enjoying his job.
Yeah, you can see it on his face. He's really enjoying his time out there. Tossing ball from hand to hand. And as Asif Hooper just marking his guard. A little bit of cleaning there on the pitch area. And they now settle as Bertel. Opening batter, doing some bowling. Hooper down the wicket, sweeps, and out caught. Good catch there by Airy.
Their catching has been outstanding.
So, Asif Hooper being caught on the mid-wicket fence at 99 for 7. The writing appears to be on the wall for this Windward Island team. Straight into the arms there of Airy, making absolutely no mistake. And Nepal claiming their 7th wicket. The Volcanoes under pressure.
Definitely, and Larry Edwards makes his way out. But their catching really have been outstanding.
Well, it's one of the things that even during the break, we saw them doing a lot of practicing with regards to the catching, and certainly this paid off. And every single opportunity being presented here today off the bat of the Volcanoes player, as far as catches are concerned, being taken by this Nepal team. So 99 for 7.
So one left-hander replacing the other, Larry Edwards.
So Edwards, this time with a cap, will face to Bertel. And pushes into the offside, and again you see that misfield. That's an area that they certainly have to work with on this Nepal team.
Fortunately, it didn't go far. Didn't give away an extra run. But their ground fielding has been very poor.
Bertel. Edwards tucks it into that mid-wicket position, short mid-wicket. And the two fielders converging on it, and Lalit and Irie winning the run, or the race, I should say. Irie.
Exuberant Irie.
So, but that will continue as a 100 is on the board for the Volcanoes, but they need another 80 to get victory here today. Only 3 wickets in hand. And that's Dylan Douglas working it off his legs for one more. And 101 now for the loss of 7. So from a stage of 70 without loss to 101 for 7.
Some 31 runs.
Yeah, not good work there for the Windward Island team. As Bertel now will come in to bowl to Larry Edward, and Edward looking to just work this one somewhere between that point and short third man position and getting the batter onto the ball and into the gloves there of the keeper. Still 101 for 7. Bertel. And this one is driven to that mid-on position, and well, had he struck the stump there, it might have very well been interesting scenario for the
certainly
Windwards.
it would have been. And Edwards, he goes on to 102, so some 78 runs still needed.
But 5 overs to go. So
30, 78 from 30.
not a situation where you
So you need more than 2 runs and over.
right.
So it's going to be a big axe, particularly when you have the lower order.
Well, it's exactly 14 runs per over.
With Douglas being the main batter, but he's at the non-striker's end.
Well, it's 78, sorry. It's more than 14 runs per over, Charlo.
14 point. Try to do the math.
15.6 runs per over. So it's a tall order for this Windward Islands team, as we see there's a bit of a delay. Both batters having a look at the Players Pavilion. And helmet is now being brought out as it's going to be Gulshan being reintroduced into the attack. So with the pace of Gulshan, the batters, of course, making sure that they have that protective headgear in their helmets. And there we see, just having a look at the wonderful surroundings here at Park Hill. Lone play all the way out in that deep position. That's Sumpal. But Gulshan is going to continue with the bowling here for the Nepal team. Windwards gets it off. And again, that was close.
Had that struck, he certainly would have been making his way back to the pavilion. But there's urgency on the part of Douglas to get the strike.
We noticed that. Definite urgency. And he's a player who can certainly turn it around for the Winter Island Volcanoes.
Certainly something that the crowd would enjoy at this particular moment, if Douglas can really to get into his strides and take the bowlers on.
There he goes. High, hard, that's into the hills, that's 6 runs. Wonderful shot off the bat.
Well, I just mentioned it. I just mentioned it and the crowd erupted.
So, Dylan Douglas showing his intention. We're into the 16th over, 4 more after this. And that was literally climbing the mountain.
Well, definitely, and there must be a replacement ball because you're not going to get there.
There's no way you're going to retrieve the ball out of there. As you have a look at that replay, high and hard over long on and into the bushed area, that hilly bushed area here at Park Hill. There's no way you're going to find that ball, as we see already in the middle. The umpire receiving the reserve ball, that's umpire Butler. Just having a look at it and tosses it on now to Gulshan.
So we see Gulshan just throwing it to his captain. Captain had a look at it, he's satisfied and gives it back to Gulshan. So he will have to continue.
Gulshan breaks into his stride now. The ball to Douglas again. And this time, in defense, pushes it back up along the onside. Equal to his own bowling, there's Gulshan. And some good fielding there on the leg side. Total remains at 109 for 7. So, a lot depends on Douglas here for the Winter Island Volcanoes. .71 runs required as Gulshan comes in now. And this one, deft touch off the bat. They're through for 1. And, well, that should not have been a second. And, well, Douglas decided to stay in his ground. And just one wide, it's now 110 for 7.
But you see, it's good field placing on the part of the captain Padu. He had the third man right in place, so it was neatly played by Douglas, but it was only kept to a single.
That's Edwards punching into the onside, and we'll pick up another single. The Volcanoes.
Lord Nelson,
yes.
1-1-1.
111. Skipping a hop.
Famous David Shepherd.
Yes.
Sheppy.
We do remember him. 111 for 7. as Gulshan comes in now to bowl, this time to Dylan Douglas, and Douglas is bowled.
Slow delivery. Deceived. And I think that's the writing on the wall for the Windwards.
Well, Nelson had his say.
Very much so. And see Otney Lewis making his way out. There's no slouch with the bat, really. But there was Douglas, deceived there by this slow delivery.
Yes, he was through the shot, and we haven't even, there you go, way through the shot before the delivery made its way in. And leg stump knocked back. It's 111 for 8. The Volcanoes certainly in some huge problems here this afternoon at the Park Hill playing field.
Middle stump knocked back. So some 16 overs completed. 111 now for 8. And
so Otney Lewis, the new batter, in, and with just 4 overs to go, some 24 deliveries, 79 runs required, 2 wickets in hand. It's a mountain to climb here this afternoon for the Windward Island Volcanoes in this practice game. 111 for 8. As change in bowling from the southern end, as Bertel would have finished his spell. This one worked nicely down to fine leg, and Healer gets around, picking it up. So 1 more to the total there for the Windward Island Volcanoes.
is it Bohara?
It is Bohara, who's bowling from the southern end. So Otney Lewis will have his first strike here this afternoon. Can he do the unthinkable for the Windward Islands? As Bohara moves in. And 1 up in the block hole, and straight to that short third man position, or run resulting.
Had to come very hard down on that one. He flew down to that short third man.
Well, third man is now being pushed right back on defense here by Captain Rohit Badel. And Bohara sensing victory here for Nepal. Comes in now into this delivery. Lewis drives down to long on, and just 1 more added to the total. So Nepal sitting quite comfortable. And certainly the Volcanoes, in terms of the shot selection, that's where they would have faltered.
Definitely.
Bohara. to continue from the southern end. Bowling to Larry Edwards, and Edwards.
He's slapping that.
But
Tennis style.
again, is just that single.
Nepal would not be hurt by these singles. They're content to just give away the singles. The boundaries are not coming.
O'Hara comes in yet again to bowl to Otney Lewis. Lewis gets one right up. And
smart bowling on the part of Bohara.
Yes. So that's the end of over number 17. And at the end of it, 114 for the loss of 8. Screws are definitely on here for the Wooden Island Volcanoes.
66 needed off 18.
That's difficult to wiggle your way out, Shallow.
Well, and particularly when you are in the lower half of the batting lineup.
Certainly.
So, Lewis. Like Sampal, who is going to pick it up from the northern end. He'll be bowling to Larry Edwards. 114 for 8. 18 deliveries, legal deliveries remaining. Some 66 runs needed. And certainly going to be a big axe. Over 20 runs and over. Sampal. Edwards looking to pull that out to square leg. Not timing it well. He gets a single. The total goes on to 115. And Edwards with that, he goes on to 7. Lewis and 1 comes into strike. 115 for 8. And Nepal sensing victory here at Park Hill in the second practice game. They won the first by some 4 wickets. And when it all looks dead and buried, Airy and Sampal really pulled them out of the hole and saw them home to victory. Sampal to Lewis. And he's fanning at that as if switching at a fly. Misses and taken cleanly by the keeper.
Well, it's ironic you mentioned Sampal and Airy pulling Nepal out of the hole. Well, the depths of the Wooded Islands at this point in time, Edwards and Lewis certainly will find it very, very difficult to get their way.
Definitely.
Out of the mire that they're in at this point in time.
So, Lewis, Larry Edwards called him down, had a word with him. The tall right-hander now settles. And he's slipping that high and hard. That's gone. Clearing the thing that's landed somewhere on one of the park buses.
Well,
at that northern end. Hope that there are no broken glasses.
Let's to hope such is not the case. And a big blow off the bat there of Otney Lewis. And just awaiting the return of the ball. It's 121 for 8. But that was really a lusty blow there from Lewis.
Just not getting into the slot. And I know that he can bat. I've seen him at the local VPL. And Sampal would want to make amends. Lewis tucks at that. This would beat the fine leg into the fence. 4 runs. Let's wait. Is there a signal from umpire? Yes, a leg by signal now by umpire Butler. And the total goes on to 125. Sampal losing his radar there. And Lewis looking to glance that, brushing his pad in the process, beating the keeper and down to the fence for 4.
Well, the boundaries will do it for the Windward Island Volcanoes. They'll keep it up. They need to keep it up, I should say.
Yes, bringing a bit of excitement to the crowd here at Park Hill. Otney Lewis, Akagis, You could hear the words of encouragement calling out to Geese to do something. And he swings and misses. And a wild swing, luckily for him.
Well, it's quite clear. He's just decided to throw the kitchen sink at everything. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be.
If I connect, I connect. And Sample, rather businesslike, gets back to his mark very quickly.
Quite a diminutive bowler he is. To Lewis.
That's in the air. Someone was circling underneath it. This could be dangerous. Oh, brilliantly taken.
That's Anil, and despite the fact that it looks like, is that Rohit?
I see Anil was coming in from the backward point. The other fielder, he was running back. Anil was in the better position, but really took the catch. I'm sure he would have seen the fielder in his eye line. And I was rather fearful that a collision could have been serious.
Well, taken safely there in the end. No damage. The only damage is to the Windward Island volcanoes as they sink even further. And they're facing down the barrel of defeat here this afternoon.
So, 125 for 9. There it is. Let's look at it. So Redhead joins Larry Edwards. Final pair at the crease. Can we get some magic?
Well, there's 65 runs needed. There's some 13 deliveries remaining. It's almost at what? Almost. Oh, it's a mountain to climb. He's trying to do some maths mentally there. It's indeed a mountain to climb.
55 needed off 12. You have to deal with sixes.
Certainly. This one is worked on to the onside, offside. There by Edward. They held up momentarily, just a change of bat there on the part of Larry Edward. So Edward's getting a new bat. But that brings some magic too.
Well, I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it does. But we are in the final moments. Edward, he's on 7. Nicholas Redhead. Non-striker, he's yet to face a delivery.
So Bahara to continue. To Larry Edward. Edward gets one of the pulls around. And in the end, not so much good work. That's 4 runs.
Well, I think he was rather casual getting around. And in the end, he just bubbled past it, but into the fence for 4. So 129 now for 9. 51 still needed.
Of 11 deliveries. So boundaries are needed here for the Windward Islands with the last wicket pair of Edward and Redhead. O'Hara. This one is wrapped him on the pad, but he's a fair distance down the pitch there.
Redheads seem to have no interest at all in getting down to the striker's end.
Well,
Maybe Ben much better to not out and not.
than to be out or not. As Buhara comes in once again. This one he pulls. Lovely shot. A good piece of fielding down there by Rohit Padel, the captain. And now Redhead will certainly have his chance to face.
It was rather, I think Edwards was looking for 2, but that would have been suicidal. And Redhead had none of it.
So,
Long range conversation between the two.
Buhara now taking his first strike here, Redhead, Nicholas Redhead. And this one is wrapped on the pad. Up goes that dreaded finger. And that's victory for Nepal here this afternoon.
Winning by some 49 runs.
Big victory indeed. And certainly a clinical win on their part.
Definitely, I think they came back very good indeed. A good start by the Windwards, but Nepal clawed their way back. And in the end, coming out with a commanding victory here against the Windward Island Volcanoes, winning by some 49 runs. 179 for 9 Nepal in their 20 overs. And Windward Island Volcanoes being bowled out for 130 in 18.3 overs. And so Nepal taking a 2-0 lead in their 3-match practice series here at Park Hill, with the final game coming up on Saturday right here at this venue. And certainly the Nepal would cherish the moments as they try to prepare for World Cup 2024 here in the Caribbean and the Americas. And you can see players now making their way off to exchange a bit of pleasantries. And the work has been done. Nepal coming out victorious in the second encounter, winning 2 games so far, a 2-0 lead.